unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of other balance in the world because former mayor, New York Mayor Rudi Giuliani and NYPD Commissioner Bill Bratton are slamming the Black Lives Matter movement. Giuliani claims it's anti-American and inherently racist. Let me start by saying this, Rudi. If you look at who's marching in those Black Lives Matter marches, they are all colors, all hues. God bless you. It's men, women, black, white, green, orange. People are saying, we see an issue. We see a problem. So telling us, particularly black folks and particularly black parents, that we need to teach our children better because they're probably going to be killed by each other is not the way to do this. Because we already know what we need to say to our children. This has been going on a very long time, but it doesn't help if you stir the pot, Rudi.
Well, he's not the only one.
No, he's not the only one, but he's the one I'm talking to now.
Yeah.
Along with Mr. Bratton, you know, to tell us to take a page out of the NAACP's playbook is kind of, it's kind of not the thing you want to say. I would say you first. None of the people who were shot, not the police officers, not the people who were shot over the weekend, none of them were disrespecting the police. So telling us to be nicer, to be quieter, is not going to work. You first, I say. Be respectful. Understand why people are upset.
Well, you know, the statement that he made on Face the Nation yesterday, which I think he meant to say. His statement on Face the Nation, Giuliani, was the real danger to black Americans 99 out of 100 times is other black kids who are going to kill them. I think that's a separate argument, first of all.
Well, not only
he's making a separate argument, but it also skirts the issue of racism, which is really the discussion that people should be having in this country. What is racism in America? It's not about... A lot of times people sort of don't understand, I think, what you're driving at, what it means to be white in this country either. What it means to be white. People I'm talking to are white people now. I mean, I'm a white girl. I'm a Caucasian girl. I can move into any neighborhood I want. I can go to any school I want. You know, I can travel in any country where there's no terrorism, of course. I'm scared of that. But I can go wherever I want.
You can go in a store and not get followed.
I'm not going to be followed thinking that I'm shoplifting just because of this color of my skin. I think that people in this country need to understand that you have this privilege because of the color of your skin. And you need to get a little more sensitive to that fact. And when you start that, go there a little bit.
Yeah.
You will probably start to understand what black Americans go through. I've seen this movie. I'm old. I've seen this movie. I saw it in the 60s. I saw it in the 70s. You know, people make a little bit of progress and then they go backwards again. And there's never this understanding that schools need to be integrated, that people need to be living together.
But the people need to be treated with dignity, with the same dignity.
Goes without saying.
Because for me, this has been very personal because all of you know I'm raising a 13-year-old 6-foot-tall black boy. And the bottom line is, I want him to come home to me at night. I know that he is at a 2.5 times rate chance of getting shot by police than Candace's 14-year-old son. And I have to have that talk with him.
Let's put this in perspective also. It's not just your son, it's your husband.
It's my husband,
it's your husband,
my father.
it's your dad.
And the bottom line is for Giuliani to tell me that I need to teach my kid to be more respectful to police. Are you freaking kidding me? I teach my kid how to be respectful to police because I need to save his life. Well, I need to make sure he can survive this.
But it's not just that. It's not just that. If you can't see that there is an issue, if you don't understand why people are marching, you are the problem. If you don't see that there are all kinds of folks marching in this. If you don't put a face to them, you're the problem, man. You are the problem. We're all just trying to raise our kids. We're all just trying to get through. We get that you don't understand. We're trying to help you.
Well,
but
he also paints the entire Black Lives Matter movement with one fell swoop, and then he would object to doing that to the police force.
Or to the Tea Party.
Or to the Tea Party, as you pointed out before. So it's like no group wants to be painted like that.
And there have been
That's
a
what
few
you're really
people
driving at.
that have spoken out that I'm so glad that they have. Newt Gingrich did. He said it took me a long time and a number of people talking to me through the years to get a sense of this. If you're a normal white American, the truth is you don't understand being black in America, and you instinctively underestimate the level of discrimination and the level of additional risk. And Marco Rubio went on to say, those of us who are not African American will never fully understand the experience of being black in America. And
yeah, but those same politicians need to vote so that black Americans and white Americans are equal in this country. For instance, the Republican Party is the first party to go against affirmative action, for example, which basically helps people of color in this country, which has put people in professorial positions, has made them more doctors, more lawyers. Those are the things that work in this country, and they vote against that. So I don't listen to this type of it's nice of Newt Gingrich to say that, but what happens when the vote comes down? That's the more important point.
You know, we were talking earlier during our meeting that I've had this conversation with my 13, soon-to-be 14-year-old, but you haven't had to have that conversation.
No, I haven't had to have that conversation, and yet within my family, I have black nieces and nephews.
Yes.
I have cousins and just extended friends that I have many black people in my life, and no, I haven't had to have those conversations with my own children, but it doesn't mean my heart isn't compassionate, doesn't mean I may not understand it from the personal level that you will, but I want to be part of the answer.
Right.
I think we all do, and I think that starts, the bottom line is it starts with our communities, each of us taking the responsibility on ourselves, whether you're white, black, Asian, old, young, Christian, Muslim, whatever, and we deal with it together as a community and have these conversations and invite people that maybe are out of our comfort zone in to have that conversation, get to know each other.
And let me just point this out. See this? See the faces here?
Yeah.
All colors.
Of course.
So who are they racist against?
Rudi Giuliani recently made the assertion that Black Lives Matter movement, a movement that is grounded in notions of respect, dignity, justice, and sanctity of life, sanctity of black life. He noted that this was inherently racist. I'm interested in your thoughts on that.
Gary McCarthy, what do you think, Black Lives Matter? Do you agree with the former mayor of New York City, Rudi Giuliani?
Well, I can tell you this. I think if there was a movement called White Lives Matter, it would be considered racist. So I think that all lives matter. I spent 35 years. As a matter of fact, today is my 35th anniversary as a police officer, starting here in New York City. And for 35 years, I've been trying to reduce crime and stop murders. And it didn't matter if they were black, white, green, or purple. So I'm a believer that we got to get by the differences. We got to have an honest conversation, which I hope this is going to open up to be. Yeah. And at the end of the day, we have to have exposure to each other, and we have to sit down and really rip at this thing and get after it.
Just applause. People who believe that Black Lives Matter is racist and offensive. If you believe there was a White Lives Matter, would it be considered racist? Applause. You think it would be considered racist?
Upon the data. There's no reason for them. They don't need a White Lives Matter because it's already understood that white lives matter.
The data says that the police
hold on one second. So I'm going to use a very simple analogy. If you and I went to the store and both of us ordered hamburgers, and they gave you yours, and they gave Bishop Jakes his, and I didn't get mine, is it discrimination? Is it racist because I say, where is my burger? But then you turn around and you say, all burgers matter. Well, I'm glad you have yours. But what about mine?
Okay, go ahead, Gary.
I'm sorry, Don, but the data that you put up showed that the police have shot more white people this year than they have black folks. Now, by the way, I'm not dismissing the issue. In no way, shape, or form am I doing it. I'm merely presenting an alternative thought. That's all.
But listen, hang on, everybody. He thinks that you are dismissing his issue by saying that. Are you listening? Do you hear
Absolutely,
what he's saying?
I'm listening.
Do you hear him?
Absolutely, I'm listening.
But if they want a meeting with you, would you meet with them?
I'm going to talk to American voters, period. It's the same way saying that you're going to meet with the Tea Party. Who's the Tea Party? There's hundreds of thousands of people out there.
If organizers from the Black Lives Matter movement come to you and say, we want to sit down, would you do it?
That's a ridiculous question. I'm going to talk to voters.
Okay.
That's just a ridiculous question.
Republican presidential candidates are getting pressed on meeting with Black Lives Matters and that movement and their officials. This coming with more presidential candidates actually feeling the heat from that protest. To Minister Jonathan Gentry. Minister Gentry, the tactics of Black Lives Matter, kind of brutish, rude, disruptive. We've seen several instances with Bernie Sanders. What do you make of that, particularly as you juxtapose it against their supposed mission?
I mean, honestly, Charles, it's good to see you with the Black Lives Matter movement. My advice to every presidential candidate out there, if they want to speak with you, challenge them. Yes, I do want to talk to you. And when they do get in your presence, ask them, if Black Lives Matter, how come you ain't cleaning up your own community? Okay, before you want to talk to me about me running any type of president seat, why are you not cleaning up your own community if Black Lives Matter? Where were you at in Chicago? Where were you at in Baltimore? Where were you at in Ferguson last week when Jamila Bolden was shot dead in her own home in that drive-by shooting on Tuesday night? If Black Lives Matter, where are you when this stuff in foolishness is occurring? I would be, every president candidate out there should challenge them. Yes, they should meet with them and ask them, why are you not cleaning up your own community before you ask me to clean up mine?
And yet,
you understand what I'm saying, Charles?
I understand. Believe me, I understand exactly what you're saying. You're kind of preaching to the choir here. But having said that, we've seen where some Democrats have tried to say, well, all lives matter, and they've been beaten down to the point where they've had to apologize. And to me, that's so crazy. It's so nuts. And I love the idea of turning it back on. If we're talking about accountability, we always should begin with the person in the mirror.
Exactly. I mean, like I said before, my message just repeats itself again and again. We are going around in constant circles to some people who cannot recognize their own foolishness. Black Lives Matter only because they want to protest for thugs. You understand what I'm saying? They're nowhere to be found in our own community. I'm still looking for them. You understand what I'm saying? I'm in L.A. I'm looking for them. I don't see them. But yet they want to go to police stations and they want to protest and disrespect other people. Start with us. Talk to me. Start with us. Because I have a whole lot to tell you about what's going on in our own community if Black Lives Matter. You understand me? People are sick of this foolishness. All lives matter, I understand. But yet if you want to recognize Black lives, recognize the ones that we are killing in our own communities if you want to talk about this. You understand? No presidential candidate should be afraid of this superficial, shallow movement. They are cookies with no milk, Lamborghini with no 12-cylinder engine, clouds without tempest. They are shallow. You understand? They are a movement going, but when you look inside, it's nothing there. Call them at their bluff. Challenge them. Grill them.
Would you go so far as to even include the massive amounts of abortion in the black community as well?
The abortion rate in the black community is ridiculous. And again, like I said, I wish they would come at me with this. No presidential candidate should be afraid. Only one I think who would hit them where it hurts would be Donald Trump. He wouldn't be afraid to talk to them in that arena, in that area. You understand? But as far as the abortion rate in the black community, it's something that we don't want to talk about. Charles, have you noticed we don't want to address the pain that we have been going through all these years? Have you noticed that? Yeah. The oppression that we don't want to recognize, we want to dump it on someone else. Now it's becoming a worldwide silly movement. And these leaders out here don't want to address it. Now God has to raise up a new remnant to bring forth his holy word in a time as this. Can't you not see that what's happening in America today? How backwards we're going when we should be going forward? This movement is a joke. It's a joke. I'm black, and I'm going to tell you, this is silly. This is foolish.
I'm black, and I'll second it, Minister, because they're absolutely right. The hypocrisy and looking the other way as we kill ourselves every single day is mind-boggling to me. I just don't get it. I don't know. Apparently, George Soros pumped a lot of money into this thing. It's a leaderless movement with no accountability. Their methods are brutish, and I wish they would speak to you. I don't know if they're going to do these presidential candidates, but I think you might turn some of them around. I appreciate it. God bless you.
I get called every name. God bless you,
And
Charles.
have
I
a
love
great
you
weekend.
guys. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Likewise.